Chapter 15 of the Shortstop. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Reading by Rowdy Delaney, Idaho, USA. The Shortstop by Zane Grey. Chapter 15 The Great Game. On the third day of the last series between Columbus and Findlay, the percentage of games won favored the former team by several points. If Columbus won the deciding game, which was the last on their schedule, they would win the pennant. If Findlay won, the percentage would go to a tie. But having three more games with the tail end Mansfield team, they were practically sure of capturing the flag. The excitement in and about Findlay was intense. Stores and shops and fields closed before noon that Saturday. The pride of Findlay rose in arms. Class was forgotten in loyalty to the common cause. The Pastime Ballpark opened at 1 o'clock and closed at 2:30, packed to its utmost capacity. Hundreds of people were left clamoring outside. The grandstand made a brave picture. Quality was out in force. The mass of white and blue of the ladies, and their bright moving fans and soft murmuring laughter lent the scene that last charm which made it softly gay. Out on the bleachers and in the roped off side lines was a dense, hilarious, coatless and ventless mob. Peanuts flew like hail in a storm. From one end of the grounds to the other passed a long ripple of unrestrained happiness. The sky shone blue, the field gleamed green, the hour of play was at hand. The practice of both teams received more applause than average games, and the batting order, at last posted on the huge blackboard, excited an extra roar. Findlay, Winters third base, Thatcher center field, Chase shortstop, Havil left field, Benny second base, Ford first base, Spear right field, Hicks catcher, Castorius pitcher. Columbus, Welch left field, Kelly shortstop, Horn catcher, Wilson third base, Harvey center field, O'Rourke right field, Stark second base, Haynes first base, Ward catcher. Umpire Connor. Mac threw up his hands when he saw the name of the umpire. The truth of the matter was that Mac was in a highly nervous state. Managing a ball team was 1 point less trying than governing an army in the field. The long campaign had worn Mac out. "Silk!" he exclaimed. "I wired the president to send any umpire but Silk. He's after us." Then Cas put on Algy's coat of white and blue and sent him out. Algy knew his business. As the gong called the Columbus players in from practice, Algy pranced round the diamond. When he reached the plate, Cas, who stepped from the bench, called sharply to him. Algy promptly stood on his hind legs. "That's for Findlay!" yelled Cas to the stands. Then Algy made a ludicrous but valiant effort to stand on his head. "That's for Columbus!" yelled Cas. The long, laughing roar of the delighted crowd attested to the popular regard for the great pitcher and his dog. "What'll we take, the field or bat?" asked Mac, beginning to fidget. "Have you lost your nut?" inquired Enoch, softly. "The bat! The bat! Now, fellers, get in the game. We're all on edge. Ward has always been hard for us to beat, but if we can once get him started, it's all off." "Chase, come here," said Mac. Then he whispered, "I can't keep it. Burke, the Detroit manager, is up in the stand. For Lord's sake, break loose today. Mannin says to me just a minute ago that if you get 2 hits in this game your average 'll go over 400. I oughtn't to tell you, but I can't help it." "I'm glad you did," replied Chase, with his fingers clinching into his bat. "Ward's got steam today," growled Mittie Maru. "You guys want her perk up." "Play ball," called Silk. The crowd shouted one quick, welcoming cry, and then subsided into watchful, waiting suspense. Enoch hit a fly to Kelly. and Thatcher went out, Wilson to Haynes. Chase sent a slow grounder towards short. Wilson fielded the ball as quickly as possible and made a good throw, but Chase, running like a deer, beat the ball to first. The eager crowd opened up. Havil, however, fell a victim to Ward's curves. For Columbus, Welch hit safely. Kelly sacrificed, sending the fleet left fielder to second. On the next play he stole third and scored on Horn's long fly to Havil. Wilson fouled out. Findlay 0, Columbus 1. Mac began to fidget worse than ever and greeted Cas with a long face. "What's the matter with you? Ball doesn't seem to have any speed." Cas deigned not to notice the little manager. When Benny got a base on balls, Mac nudged the player next to him and brightened up. "Bunt, Ford," he said, and when Ford laid down a neat sacrifice, Mac nudged the player on the other side. "That's good. That's good." Spear hit safely, scoring Benny. Thereupon Mac jammed his elbow into Enoch's ribs and bubbled over. "Makin' sausage again?" inquired the genial captain, with soft sarcasm. All the players had sore ribs from these jabs of Mac's elbows. He had the most singular way, when the team was winning, of slipping from one end of the bench to the other, jabbing his appreciation of good plays into the anatomy of his long suffering team. Cas never sat on the bench, and Enoch, always forgetful, usually came in for most of the jabs. Hicks made a good bid for a hit, but being slow, could not get to first ahead of the ball. Spear went to third. Cas got a double along the left foul line. Enoch walked on balls, and Thatcher's hit scored Cas. The Columbus second baseman caught Enoch trying to get a lead off second. Findlay 3, Columbus 1. All the while the crowd roared, and all the while Mac on the bench was going through his peculiar evolutions. "A bingo! Good!" Jab and jab. "Will you look at that?" Jab and jab. "Keep after 'em!" Jab and jab. "Oh! Oh! Run, you Indian, run!" Jab, jab, jab. Neither team scored in the third. Findlay failed again in the fourth, but Columbus tied the score. The game began to warm up. With one man out, Chase opened the fifth with a hard hit to right. He believed he could stretch it into a double, and strained every nerve. He saw the second baseman brace himself, and without slackening his speed he leaped feet first into the air. He struck the ground and shot through the dust to the base. Just an instant after he felt the baseman tag him sharply with the ball. Lying there, Chase looked for the umpire. Silk came racing down, swept his right hand toward the side lines, and said, "You made a grand slide, but you're out." It seemed then that Chase's every vein burst with the mad riot of hot blood. He sprang to his feet. "Out? Out? Why, he never touched me till after I hit the bag." "Don't show off before Burke," called Silk. "You're out. Perambulate." Chase stamped in his fury, but the mention of Burke cooled him. As he walked off, the whole Findlay team, led by Mac, made for the umpire with angry eyes. "Go back! Go back!" yelled Silk. "To the bench! I'm running this game." "To the bench, or I'll flash my watch." The uproar in the stands and bleachers gave place to an uproar back of center field. A portion of the fence suddenly crashed forward, and through the gap poured a black stream of yelling men and boys. That one bad decision had served to upset Mac's equilibrium, and he was now raging. Enoch reasoned with him. Cas swore at him. Some of the other players gave him sharp answers. Mac was plainly not himself. He showed it in that inning when he discarded the usual signs and told the team to go ahead on its own hook. Havil and Benny failed to get on base, and once more the Columbus team trotted to the bat. Then the unexpected, the terrible happened. By sharp hitting, Columbus scored 5 runs. Cas labored in the box, but he could not stem the torrent of base hits. A fast double play by Chase and Benny and a good catch by Havil retired the side. Findlay 3, Columbus 8. A profound gloom settled over the field. The bleachers groaned and a murmur ran through the grandstand. Cas walked up to the bench and confronted Mac. I'm done.